The alien fleet arrived above Earth in the dead of night. Their massive warships covered the sky, blocking out the stars. The Exilarians, a race that had conquered hundreds of worlds, believed Earth would be no different. To them, humans were weak, primitive, and unworthy of survival. Admiral Korvac sat in his command chair, watching as the invasion began. Thousands of soldiers descended, their energy weapons glowing in the darkness. "This will be over by morning," Korvac said, confident as ever. But he was wrong. The first sign, the first warning, came in the form of silence. The communication lines between the invading soldiers and their ships went dead. Korvac frowned. "What is happening down there?" he demanded. No one could answer. Every signal was being jammed. Then the reports started coming in. Xilarian soldiers were vanishing. Not dying, vanishing. Patrols sent to investigate never returned. Armored walkers designed to crush human cities stood frozen, their systems unresponsive. "Sir, our weapons are failing," an officer reported. "Something is shutting them down." Korvac clenched his fists. "That is impossible. Humans do not have this kind of technology." Yet, the proof was right in front of him. The hunt begins in the ground. Exilarian soldiers move carefully through abandoned streets. The cities were eerily quiet. There were no screams, no signs of battle, only shadows moving in the distance. One soldier raised his weapon, scanning the darkness. "I don't like this," he whispered. A sharp sound cut through the silence. Then, another. A scream echoed through the empty streets. The soldiers turned, but their comrade was gone. Only his weapon lay on the ground. Panic spread. These were elite warriors, trained to fight in the most dangerous battles across the galaxy. But this was different. There was no enemy to see. No explosions. No war cries. Only fear. The nightmare unfolds back on the flagship. Korvac watched in horror as entire battalions disappeared from the battlefield. He sent reinforcements. They vanished too. He ordered airstrikes, but the ships never returned. Then, the Exilarians' own warships began shutting down. The lights flickered. Systems crashed. The fleet was trapped, unable to move, unable to escape. Korvac's heart pounded. He had underestimated Earth. A message suddenly appeared on the main screen. It was written in the Exilarian language, clear and simple: "Leave now." Or never leave at all. The escape, for the first time in his life, Admiral Korvac felt true fear. He had fought against countless species, but never had he encountered an enemy like this one that fought without being seen, that turned the battlefield into a nightmare. "Retreat!" he roared. "Get us out of here." His officers scrambled to obey, but it was already too late. One by one, the Exilarian warships lost power. The mighty fleet, once unstoppable, was now stranded in Earth's orbit, completely helpless. Then, something even worse happened. The ships began falling. The last warning Korvac watched in horror as his warships crashed into the planet below, one after another. There was no explosion, no fire, just the eerie silence of destruction. His fleet was being erased, and he had no idea how. He turned to his officers, but their faces were pale, their eyes filled with terror. The realization had set in. Earth was not weak. It was not primitive. It was something else entirely, and they had made a terrible mistake. The screen flickered again, and a final message appeared. "This is your last warning. Never come back." Then, everything went dark. The alien empire, known for its ruthless conquests, had set its sights on Earth. They had wiped out countless civilizations before, and they believed humans would be no different. The alien warlords were sure that Earth's defenses would crumble in minutes. They were wrong. Captured and imprisoned on an alien spaceship, Lieutenant Jake Carter, a soldier from Earth, sat alone in his cell. He was a young man, no older than 25, but his eyes carried the weight of 1,000 battles. The aliens had underestimated him from the start. They thought he was just another soldier, someone they could break with their technology and mind games. They were wrong. The experiment begins. The first day in captivity was quiet. The aliens gave him food, took blood samples, and ran scans on his body. They studied him, looking for weaknesses they could exploit. But Carter didn't speak. He didn't give them anything. The aliens were baffled. They had studied hundreds of species across the galaxy, and no one had ever resisted their methods for so long. The fear they had expected from the human never came. Instead, he remained silent, his eyes always watching them, waiting. "We need to break him," said General Task, the leader of the alien operation. "Use the psychological methods." The mind games the alien scientists used their most advanced technology to invade Carter's mind. They implanted false memories, forced him to relive the worst moments of his life, and tried to turn him against his own people. They made him watch visions of Earth being destroyed, his family in pain, his friends dead. But Carter never wavered. He gritted his teeth through every painful memory they forced him to relive. He never cried out. He never begged for mercy. He just stared ahead, his mind focused on one thing: survival. Days turned into weeks. The aliens grew frustrated. General Tusk visited Carter's cell, hoping to see some sign of weakness. "You're a strong one, human," Tusk said, his voice filled with admiration. "But you will break. We always make them break." But Carter just smirked. "You haven't met anyone like me." The unexpected escape one evening, after the aliens had left him alone for hours, Carter noticed something strange. His cell door was slightly ajar. At first, he thought it was a mistake, but then he realized it was an opportunity. Without making a sound, Carter stood up. His body was weak from days of torture, but his mind was clear. He had been watching, waiting for the perfect moment. He had seen the patterns, noticed the weaknesses in the alien security. He wasn't just a prisoner, he was a predator, watching for his chance. He slipped out of the cell and into the dark corridors of the ship. The silence was deafening. He knew the alien guards would be patrolling soon, but he was faster. He moved like a shadow, avoiding detection, staying out of sight. It wasn't long before Carter found the main control room. The aliens hadn't anticipated him escaping, and their security systems were still offline. He quickly hacked into the control panel, using the knowledge he had gained from his time on the ship. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship. The aliens had discovered his escape. The chase the alien ships were vast, and Carter had only a small window of time before they would find him. He ran through the hallways, his heart pounding in his chest. The guards were closing in, but Carter was already 2 steps ahead. He had learned how the ship worked, and now he was using it against them. He made his way to the hangar bay, where the alien ships were kept. There was one ship, an advanced fighter that hadn't been fully powered up. Carter's heart skipped a beat when he saw it. He knew it was his only chance to escape. He ran toward the ship, his legs burning with exhaustion. The alien guards were closing in fast, but Carter didn't stop. He jumped into the pilot's seat, powering up the engines. The ship came to life with a roar, and for a brief moment, he felt a surge of hope. Then, the hangar doors began to open. The ship was about to launch. But just as Carter was about to take off, an alien ship blocked his path, firing a blast that shook the walls. The explosion sent him spinning, but Carter gritted his teeth. He wasn't done. Not yet. The final fight with the alien ship blocking his escape, Carter knew what he had to do. He had no choice but to fight back. His hands gripped the controls, his mind racing. He had learned how to fly alien ships during his time as a prisoner. Now, it was time to put that knowledge to the test. The alien ship fired again, but Carter dodged the blast, his hands moving faster than he ever thought possible. With a sharp turn, he got behind the enemy ship and fired back. The alien ship exploded in a ball of fire, leaving Carter with only one path: freedom. As he flew through the open space, leaving the alien fleet behind, Carter couldn't help but smile. He had done it. The human who wouldn't break had escaped. And now, he was going home. The message. As he flew back toward Earth, Carter sent out a message to the alien empire. It was short, simple, and deadly. "You will never break us. We are coming for you." The aliens had underestimated him. They thought they could crush a human spirit. But Carter had proven them wrong, and the universe would soon know Earth was not a planet to be taken lightly. The alien ships appeared in Earth's sky like dark clouds, blocking out the sun. The Galactic Empire, one of the most feared forces in the universe, had come to take what they wanted Earth. They believed it was just another unprotected planet, ripe for invasion. The human race, weak and primitive, would never be able to defend itself. Commander Zora of the Galactic Empire stood at the front of the invasion fleet, her eyes gleaming with confidence. "This will be easy," she said, her voice filled with arrogance. "By sunset, Earth will belong to us." But Zora was wrong. The first alien soldiers landed in major cities across Earth, expecting to meet little resistance. They were armed with weapons that could tear through tanks and armies in seconds. They were trained for one purpose: to conquer. But when they touched down in the heart of New York City, something was off. The streets were empty, eerily silent. The air felt heavy, as if it was holding its breath. Then, without warning, the first alien soldier fell. His weapon dropped to the ground with a loud crash. A human had shot him, but there was no time to react. The humans were everywhere. They appeared out of nowhere, armed with strange weapons and quick thinking. The soldiers, used to fighting battles in space and on foreign planets, were completely unprepared for the chaos on Earth. The humans didn't fight like they were supposed to. They didn't wait for orders or follow standard tactics. They fought like they were fighting for survival. A strange tactic. Zora watched the reports from her ship. The situation was spiraling out of control. Her soldiers were being picked off one by one. It wasn't just the humans' strength that baffled her. It was their intelligence. The humans were using their own technology against them. Streetlights, cars, even everyday objects were turned into weapons. Zora couldn't understand it. These people were supposed to be weak, helpless. How were they winning? Then, the sky above them started to change. The clouds, once clear, began to swirl in a strange, unnatural pattern. It was as if Earth itself was fighting back. Zora felt the ground beneath her feet tremble. The storm began suddenly. The alien ships began to experience technical problems. Their engines failed, their weapons malfunctioned, and their communication systems went silent. They were cut off from each other, isolated and vulnerable. Zora was in disbelief. How could this happen? Their technology was advanced beyond anything the humans had, yet it was failing. She ordered her forces to retreat back to the ships, but it was too late. The humans had set a trap. Hundreds of humans, armed with improvised explosives, ambushed the retreating soldiers. The alien ships were surrounded by fire and smoke. Zora's forces couldn't escape. The humans were relentless. They attacked in ways that no alien had ever expected: silent, quick, and unforgiving. Desperate measures in a panic, Zora ordered the activation of their most powerful weapon, the plasma cannon. It was designed to wipe out entire cities with a single blast. If she couldn't win this fight, she would destroy Earth and every human with it. But as she prepared to fire, something stopped her. The cannon began to overheat. Sparks flew from the control panel. It had malfunctioned just like the rest of the fleet's systems. Zora slammed her fist against the console, furious. "What is happening to us?" she screamed. The human resistance had outsmarted them. They had hacked into the alien ship systems, turning their own weapons and technology against them. Earth's surface was now alive with a strange energy that the aliens couldn't control. The final blow. Zora's forces were falling apart. The alien soldiers, once feared throughout the galaxy, were now scattered, running for their lives. Some tried to escape in their ships, but the humans were too fast. They launched homemade missiles and drones, disabling the ships mid-flight. One by one, the mighty alien fleet began to crash down to Earth, their fires lighting up the sky like falling stars. Zora could see the writing on the wall. Her fleet was lost. Her soldiers were fleeing, terrified. Earth, the planet she had believed was weak, had defeated her empire. She turned to her remaining officers. "We need to leave," she said, her voice trembling. Now, a terrifying message: the last surviving alien ships began to retreat into space, but it was too late. Earth's message had already been sent across the stars, loud and clear. Never underestimate this planet. Zora's eyes narrowed as she looked out from the cockpit of her ship. The entire galaxy would know now. The once feared Galactic Empire had been defeated by a species that had only just begun to fight. Earth was no longer an easy target. As her ship disappeared into the depths of space, Zora muttered to herself. They came to conquer, but they left running. And she knew Earth's power would never be forgotten. For centuries, Earth had remained quiet. The galaxy's most powerful civilizations had come and gone, conquering planets, enslaving species, and leaving nothing but destruction in their wake. Humans were nothing but a distant, unknown species to them, weak and insignificant, trapped on a small planet with no real defenses. No one had ever paid much attention to Earth, but that was about to change. The arrival-lone morning, the sky above Earth darkened as a massive alien fleet appeared. Their ships were enormous, sleek, and metallic, gliding through the atmosphere like shadows. The conquerors, known as the Zorathians, were one of the most feared empires in the galaxy. They had destroyed entire civilizations without mercy, and they believed Earth would be just another easy conquest. Admiral Raxor, the leader of the Zorathian fleet, stood in the command room, looking down at Earth on the monitor. "We'll be in and out within a day," he said with a cold, confident smile. "Prepare the ground forces. The humans won't know what hit them." He underestimated them. The first battles, the alien troops landed across the planet's cities. They expected to face weak, frightened humans. Instead, they were greeted by resistance they hadn't prepared for. The humans fought with unexpected fierceness. Zorathian soldiers, equipped with the most advanced weaponry in the galaxy, were suddenly outmatched. Humans were everywhere, using makeshift weapons, traps, and even their own technology against the invaders. What should have been an easy victory turned into a bloody struggle. The Zorathians began to notice something strange. The humans didn't fight like any other species they had conquered. They didn't run. They didn't surrender. They fought with a kind of fury the Zorathians had never seen before. Admiral Raxor's expression turned serious. "This is not going as planned. We need to end this quickly," he ordered. Unexpected resistance. The aliens had expected to wipe out Earth's military within hours. But instead, they found themselves trapped in a war they couldn't control. Human forces weren't just fighting, they were organizing. They used their cities, their landscapes, and their very environment to launch attacks. The humans had never been part of a galaxy-wide empire. They had never experienced war on such a massive scale. But they had something far more dangerous: survival instinct. They were ready to protect their world at all costs. Zorathian soldiers, unable to get support from their own fleet, found themselves cut off from communication. Their ships started malfunctioning. Weapons jammed. Ships couldn't launch. The aliens were losing control. Raxor paced the command room, frustration building. "What's happening? Why aren't we getting backup?" he demanded. "We can't get through," one of his officers replied. "The human ships are jamming our signals." The unexpected turn. Raxor's eyes narrowed. The humans had somehow turned their own planet into a weapon. The very environment that was supposed to be their weakness was now their greatest strength. The Zorathian fleet was stuck, unable to make contact with the outside world. Worse, their ships were falling into traps. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the flagship. The Zorathians' most advanced warship, designed to be impenetrable, was attacked from within. Soldiers rushed to the control room, only to find that their systems had been hacked. The humans, somehow, had taken control of their ship. "How is this possible?" Raxor muttered, staring in disbelief at the monitors. "Their technology. It's nothing compared to ours. How did they?" But the answer came too late. The desperate retreat. The humans were not just fighting to survive, they were hunting. They had learned how to use the alien technology against them. It was a skill born from desperation. It was their will to protect that drove them forward. Earth was not just a planet. It was a living, breathing entity that had decided it would not be conquered. As Zorathian ships fell one by one, Raxor realized the truth. They had made the biggest mistake of their lives. They had underestimated Earth, and now they were paying the price. The final blow came when the humans launched a counterattack on the remaining fleet. The Zorathians, once unstoppable, now found themselves fleeing. Their ships exploded in the atmosphere, crashing to the ground below. The humans had won. Earth had repelled its invaders. Raxor's voice trembled as he gave the order to retreat. "Get us out of here. We've made a grave mistake." The final messages, the Zorathian fleet fled the planet. One final message was broadcast across the galaxy. The galaxy's biggest mistake was underestimating Earth. "We are not weak. We are not helpless. And we will fight until the last breath to protect what is ours." The Zorathians left Earth that day, but their empire would never forget the lesson they had learned. They would tell stories of the humans who fought with such fierce determination, the species they had underestimated, and the planet that had turned out to be the most dangerous one in the universe. And as Earth looked up at the stars, the people knew this was just the beginning. The Empire had come. They came in vast, dark ships that swallowed up the stars, their weapons gleaming and their soldiers ruthless. They had crushed hundreds of worlds before, leaving nothing but dust and ruin in their wake. Now, Earth was next. The humans had no chance. Or so the Empire thought. The invasion begins. The first wave of the invasion hit Earth with the force of a thunderstorm. Alien dropships landed in every major city, disgorging heavily armored soldiers. Their weapons fired beams of energy that reduced buildings to rubble. The streets ran red with the blood of those who tried to fight back. The humans were unprepared. Their military was no match for the Empire's advanced technology. But amidst the chaos, one human soldier stood out, Sergeant Alex Matthews. A simple man from a small town, he had seen war before, but never anything like this. His training had never prepared him for an alien invasion. Yet when his team was wiped out in the first wave, Alex didn't run. He didn't surrender. He fought. The first strike, Alex's unit had been tasked with defending a small communications tower, but by the time they arrived, the Empire had already taken control of the area. His squad was caught off guard, overwhelmed by the aliens' sheer numbers and firepower. Most of his men fell in the first few minutes. The sound of gunfire, screams, and explosions echoed through the air. Alex ducked behind cover, his breath shallow as he checked his weapon. The others were gone. But Alex wasn't finished. He grabbed a grenade, pulled the pin, and tossed it at a group of aliens nearby. The explosion sent one of their armored soldiers flying. Alex didn't hesitate. He sprinted toward the wreckage, dodging alien fire. With one fluid motion, he grabbed an enemy weapon and began firing back. The aliens didn't expect one human to fight back so fiercely. They were trained to conquer, to overwhelm, but this human was something different. He had the will to survive. The rebellious, the days passed, Alex became something more than just a soldier. He became a symbol. The media spread stories of the lone human who fought back. He single-handedly took down several alien outposts, ambushed supply lines, and killed countless invaders. The Empire's forces, for the first time in their long history, were beginning to question the strength of this species they had so easily underestimated. Admiral Vorn, the leader of the Empire's invasion, was furious. He had faced many enemies before, but this one human was proving to be a thorn in his side. The Empire had crushed entire planets, yet one human was resisting them. "This has gone on long enough," Vorn said, pacing back and forth in his command center. "I want this human eliminated. Bring in everything we have. Every ship, every soldier, destroy him." The final stand, Alex knew the end was near. The Empire had gathered all of its forces to crush him. He had been on the run for days, constantly moving, never staying in one place too long. But eventually, he would have to face them. His heart raced as he sat in the ruins of an old city, preparing for the final battle. His body was bruised, his clothes torn, but his resolve was unshaken. He had one goal now, to take down the Empire. The ground shook as thousands of enemy soldiers surrounded the city. The sky darkened with the arrival of the Empire's flagship, a massive warship that blotted out the sun. Alex didn't hesitate. He ran toward the enemy lines, firing his weapon as he went. His bullets cut down aliens left and right, but there were too many of them. He had to get closer to their command center. The only way to stop the invasion was to destroy the heart of the Empire's operation. The impossible. As Alex fought his way through the alien ranks, the impossible happened. One by one, the aliens started to fall. Not because of overwhelming force, but because of strategy. Alex had learned their movements. He knew how they thought, how they fought. He used their own tactics against them. He reached the heart of their operation, a heavily fortified control room located inside a massive alien warship. His plan was simple: destroy the ship's core and cripple the Empire's command. He fought his way inside, planting explosives along the walls as the aliens attempted to stop him. Admiral Vorn watched in disbelief as the human infiltrated his flagship. He couldn't believe it. This single human was making his empire tremble. Stop him! At all costs! Vorn barked into his communicator. But it was too late. Alex had reached the core. He detonated the charges, and the warship erupted into flames. The blast tore through the heart of the alien fleet. Ships exploded in the sky, their fiery remains raining down onto Earth. The legacy of the Empire's forces began to retreat. Without their command, their ships were left vulnerable. The humans, now united by the bravery of one man, fought back with everything they had. The invasion was over. The Empire had failed. Admiral Vorn's ship was the last to leave, the remnants of his fleet scattered across the stars. He could only watch in defeat as Earth's defenders took back their planet. In the months that followed, the story of Alex Matthews spread throughout the galaxy. A simple soldier, a single human, had stood against an empire and won. The galaxy would never forget the human who had defeated the impossible. And Earth, once seen as a weak, insignificant planet, had earned the respect of the entire galaxy.